Hey guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to my account if you're on TikTok, and welcome to content. And what are we going over today? That's right, an iceberg, specifically an iceberg about creepypastas. Creepypastas are kind of like just stories about like figures or things that have happened that are kind of like scary and eerie, more or less scary. It's more like a horror aspect, and it's stuff that's really been put out on the internet during the age of the internet. And the iceberg chart is basically like at the top of the iceberg is things that are super well known, but at the bottom of the iceberg are super unknown things. So that being said, I'm going to at least start this iceberg and maybe even complete it. Before starting out on this iceberg chart, I would like to first thank Avarge Skeletorium, I believe that's how you say his name, for creating this specific iceberg chart, which is located on the r/iceberg charts subreddit. I think it is the best structured in the sense of which ones go in which category, but this one I think is structured quite well and quite fairly to the popularity and obscurity of those. With that being said, we're going to go over first entry in their iceberg, and that is the entry of Jeff the Killer. Jeff the Killer is the name of a creepypasta character and of a story about said creepypasta character. The origins of Jeff the Killer kind of have like mixed sort of dating. The early origins go back to about 2008, but the well-known story that a lot of people know about comes from a 2011 iteration. This 2011 iteration was posted by a guy named GameFuel TV, also known as Josh, but the story was actually written by his brother, Travis, and the story goes a little bit like this. Jeff, or Jeffrey Woods, was a 13-year-old boy who moved with his family to a new home. He lived with his mom, his dad, and his brother, Lou. One day, when Jeff and Lou were waiting out for the bus, they were ambushed and attacked by 3 kids on skateboards named Randy, Keith, and Troy. Jeff actually broke Randy's wrist and took his knife from him, stabbing Keith and then punching Troy in the gut. Afterwards, the police came to question Jeff, but then his brother Lou actually took the fall for the crime. This made Jeff very, very depressed. After about 2 days, Jeff, with his mom and dad, went to a birthday party for one of the neighbor boys that lived right next to them. While he was at the birthday party, Jeff actually heard Randy, Keith, and Troy rolling up on their skateboards right behind them, and they proceeded to get into an altercation. The altercation started with Randy beating and then eventually stabbing Jeff in the shoulder, while Troy and Keith had both drawn guns to make sure that no one else interrupts with the fight. After Randy consistently beats him and starts taunting Jeff by saying he's the reason that Lou's in jail, Jeff sort of has a psychotic break and actually begins to fight back against Randy. He fights back so hard that he ends up killing Randy by beating him to death. When dust settles and everyone sees what happened, Jeff decides to run away, but while he's running away, Troy and Keith are shooting at him. He's able to knock down Troy in the house and then begins to fight with Keith one-on-one. While fighting Keith one-on-one, Jeff and Keith accidentally knock bleach onto themselves, causing both of them to be in extreme pain, but Jeff is still able to beat Keith to the ground. He stands over both Keith and Toby smiling, but then Keith pulls out a lighter and ignites it because there's actually alcohol that also spilled onto Jeff. So Jeff catches fire and begins running down the stairs, screaming in pain, before he eventually falls to the ground, nearly dying, and his parents actually have to put out the fire that's on his body. Jeff would eventually end up in a hospital for several weeks. After time has passed, all his family are brought into the room, and they begin to remove the bandages from him, and Everyone is completely horrified with how he looks. When he goes to the mirror to see how he looks, he is also taken back. His lips are very, very red. His skin is completely bleached white, and his hair has turned black. But instead of being disgusted like the rest of his family members are, he is actually delighted by his own appearance. Later on, Jeff would go home and continue to disfigure himself. His mom would find him in the bathroom, cutting a permanent smile into his face and burning his eyelids off. Jeff saying the reason why he did this is because he actually delighted in the way that he looked, but when he smiled, it hurt, so he decided to cut a permanent smile in his face so he doesn't have to force himself to smile. And about the burning the eyelids off, it's because he wants to be able to permanently see the way that he looks. After speaking to his mother says that she's going to go get his dad so that he can see what Jeff has done to himself. But when she goes to get the dad, she actually tries to find a gun in order to kill Jeff. Jeff realizes this, comes into his parents' room, and kills both of his parents. Later that night, Lou is lying in his bed asleep, but woken up by a noise. And after hearing that noise and trying to figure out what it is, Jeff proceeds to stab Lou to death while saying his famous catchphrase, "Go to sleep." Although the 2011 story is the popular story and popular origin that people have to Jeff the Killer itself actually dates back to 2008 from a video released by someone named Seshwar, who was also named Jeff. The story is very different versus what the 2011 entry says, where it actually states that Jeff was carrying a tub of acid, but then he slipped on a bar of soap in the bathroom, spilling the acid on his body. It also states nowhere in the story that he actually killed his own family. This is something that was kind of criticized by Seshwar himself. There is also a 2015 story that's kind of similar in the sense that it has Jeff and Lou and also all the bullies, but it's a little bit different on the origins of how Jeff actually gets his burns, which is done by a flare gun being shot at him by Randy. While Jeff the Killer is not a real entity and he's not going to hurt you, unfortunately, there have been real tragedies that have been committed relating to Jeff the Killer. One specific tragedy is the murder of Heidi Taylor by her boyfriend's son, Donovan Nichols. Donovan killed his dad's girlfriend, and the reason why he killed him is because he believed that he had an alternate personality within him named Jeff that made him kill Heidi, or at the very least took over his body to kill Heidi. Essentially, he was trying to, plead on grounds of dissociative identity disorder, but the courts actually, looked into it. He was evaluated and he was deemed fit to stand trial and was never formally diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder. This incident happened in 2017 while Donovan was 14 years old, and in 2019 he was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. However, the Ohio Supreme Court in 2023, which Ohio is a state where this took place in, vacated the conviction of Donovan due to the fact that they believed and ruled that there was faulty discretionary decisions made by the juvenile court to have his case be elevated from juvenile courts up to adult courts. Donovan was released in 2023, and he's also expressed deep regret for what he did to Heidi Taylor.